Greetings, War Thunderers. This is Longshot, and in this video I'm up-tiering the LaGG-3-8 in arcade. You know, I've never discussed that title I show on the introduction, Turning the Tables. Generally it refers to the type of tactics I like to employ, such as rope-a-dopes and other types of energy-based reversals. But these up-tiering videos give turning the tables a whole new meaning, as I'm deliberately taking a low-tiered plane into battles where it has no right to be competitive, and trying not only to survive, but to come away with 10 kills in a single game, get terror over the sky and top the leaderboard. Essentially, it's David versus a team of Goliaths, and my David for this video is the LaGG-3-8, the earliest of the production LaGGs in War Thunder, a Tier 1 plane rated at 2.3. These planes were made of wood, they were heavy with an underpowered engine, and hugely outclassed by the Bf-109s they fought against. In War Thunder, they're notorious for clubbing biplanes, but that's less due to their flight characteristics and more down to their centrally mounted 20mm cannon and 12.7mm machine gun. But I won't be facing biplanes, of course. My lineup contains Tier 4 planes and is rated at 4.3. So let's take a quick look at its armour. Just a thin plate behind the pilot and no protection in head-ons. The X-ray shows a line of fuel tanks along each wing, and although the LaGG can survive fires, it does tend to catch alight easily and usually takes heavy damage before putting them out. Okay, a quick flight test to see what the plane can do. Beginning with my setup where my convergence is 800 meters and I'm using stealth ammo belts. After spawning, I lift into a steep climb to convert the extra speed to altitude and then gently drop the nose to achieve the optimal climbing speed, which is around 255 km an hour or 158 miles per hour. This plane is not a good climber, and like many Russian planes it loses most of its WEP at 3,000 meters. 2 WEPs will get you from a spawn height of 2,000 meters up to 3,500 meters, which is fine for Tier 1, but it's 1,000 meters less than many of the planes I'll be facing up against. Okay, let's just put it through some maneuvers, and for sake of comparison, I will show it against the Bf-109 F4, its historical opponent, and a plane that it will be facing in these battles. And as you can see, the roll rate is identical. Let's see how it goes with an elevator turn. I would expect the F4 to have a superior turn here. It has a bit more lift from its wings, it's a lighter plane, but as you look at it, their turn time, like the rolling time, is identical. Can't see any difference between them at all. I smell a little bit of cutting and pasting of flight models going on here. Let's see how they go with a rudder turn with up elevator to hold it in a climbing spiral. And both of these planes have very, very strong rudders. They both pull sharply to the side. However, there's a big difference here. That Bf-109 is climbing. It'll go from 3,500 meters right up past 4,500 meters in this climbing spiral, whereas my LaGG will barely make it to 4,000 meters, and I have to use combat flaps on the LaGG to keep it climbing. Not necessary in the Bf-109. So that right there is a massive difference, and it's quite a huge one. Let's go into the high-speed dive test. Moving quickly as I've got a lot I want to cover in this video. At first they're pretty similar, maybe the LaGG's actually rolling even a little bit faster. The 109 starts to lock up a bit earlier, but as they really start to gain speed past 600 km an hour, the LaGG locks up quite a lot more. So its high speed handling is not going to be as good as the 109's. Plus it's not as fast. The 109's well over 860 km an hour in that dive, my LaGG's already under 700. And as I pull the mouse to the side, the LaGG really wants to lift the nose, and as it does so, it bleeds away speed. So high-speed handling is not its forte. Let's see how it goes in a zoom climb. I'm looking for when it passes 200 km an hour. There. About 1,500 meters gained in the zoom climb, which for a Tier 1 plane is not bad at all. It'd be interesting to see how it performs at a battle rating of over 4.0 against Tier 4 planes. Hammerhead is extremely good, as you'd expect from a plane with a strong rudder. Okay, so this is a plane that I want to use in a boom and zoom role if I can. And as you do in Tier 1 battles, where everyone's flying low, you want to go for a low boom and zoom strategy, getting up to around 1,600 or so meters, and then using that to generate just enough dive speed to be able to engage. I don't want to go so fast that my plane locks up as it does at really high speeds, so keeping it around in the 500 km an hour range should be fine. And there we go, there's a target down. Trying not to pull too many G's as I extend away. Keeping my speed as high as I can with some WEP. I have to wait because all my guns are reloading. There's a whole tempting stream of targets down there too. Okay, 5 seconds to cannon. Right, I've chosen the Kai 102 as my target. I'm just going to circle around and drop him behind him because no one else is shooting at him. And he's flying nice and straight trying to shoot at a friendly. See if I can pick up that 38. No, it's a bit too tight. A rudder turn with WEP to keep my speed high. Switching on to the Hellcat. Down he goes, and then I can hit the P-47 on the way out. A few turns in there, but not too many, and my speed stayed high. But you've got to be careful using this low altitude boom and zoom tactic. Just make a mistake by, in this case, pursuing a target just for a bit too longer than was necessary. Couldn't make up my mind which I was going for, and I can see tracer. I know someone's picked me up. And yes, I've got an A6M3 on my tail. And I'm not going to be able to outturn him, despite the strength of my rudder, and there's plenty of other enemies in the area too. So I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I need a friendly, basically, to pull this A6M3 off me, and I try and throw off his aim with a bit of rolling, knowing that rolling is not really the strength of a Zero. But even so, he manages to hit my wing here with another burst, and now my plane's been criticaled, and I've got very, very little lift from that wing, so I'm basically gimped for the rest of the battle. Although I'm surprised he didn't decide to finish me off. Maybe he thought I was already on my way down. But at low altitude, you're also against everyone else on your team is trying to perform that same role, usually with faster planes with better cannon. So the other option is taking it up to altitude. Now it takes a long time to get up here. You've seen its climb rate. It takes a lot of patience to climb as high as I have in this battle. I'm up at 5,600 meters. And I've climbed that high because there's enemies up here, and including this P-63 who's decided to ignore me in favour of attacking a P-38 below me. Yes, the P-38's the more dangerous target, but you can't ignore a plane with cannon. Now I'm taking my time to follow him up, hitting WEP as hard as I can because I want to catch him at the top of his loop. And there we go. There's a 109G2 up here as well somewhere. I've just temporarily lost him. I'll find him in a minute. But yes, obviously a tier 1 plane up at altitude in these battles, you will be a target, and that 109G2 is certainly going to come for me. Now, I could face him for a snap roll, but I wouldn't have the speed. I'm trying to get my speed as high as I possibly can because that's my only chance of surviving this. So I'm going to go into a dive, and then once he's committed, diving down, pulling to one side, then rolling and switching to the other direction. Betting that in his high-speed state he wouldn't be able to switch and follow me, which he couldn't. And if I had a more powerful plane, I'd actually have a very good chance coming out of that manoeuvre at being able to chase him down and get altitude above him. But in this plane, I can do neither. He can easily just run away from me and climb up and look to repeat the same manoeuvre. So rather than hang around for that, there's boom and zooming to be done here. I'm going to fly away from him and see what I can pick up. And yes, here's the P-63 pilot from earlier, climbing sharply in a P-47, and I can intercept him very easily. And that's the good thing with arcade. If I was in RB against the BF-109 in that situation, I wouldn't have very many options at all. Chances are I'd eventually be shot down. But in arcade you can lose yourself in the crowd. Here's another example of being singled out in the climb. I've only reached 3,600 meters and I've got a P-63 and an F-82 coming towards me, although there is a friendly Thunderbolt in the area as well. He's now flown on, and I'm going to be set upon by the F-82. Get out of the way quickly. I do not want to meet that laser beam of death, and the P-63 has also targeted me. Now he'll be on the other side behind me, so I can perhaps risk a quick burst at this F-82. Notice the rudder turn, and now I've got to get away from the P-63. Combat flaps to get as much lift out of the wings as I can, scissoring back toward him to make him overshoot. And you can see the energy difference between us is enormous. All I can do is try and keep my speed up and keep turning inside him because yes, he's trying to turn fight with me, and sometimes with this plane you've really got to wrestle it around in the direction that you want. He's going to a steep climb right in front of me, and that's not going to work out very well for him. The number of people who try to turn fight you instead of using their engine power to get you to stall or just to be able to get above and boom and zoom you, it really is quite surprising. There's no way I should have been able to defeat a P63 in a dogfight, not if it was flown well. And it's not just fighters who'll come looking for you at the start of a game. Here's a B782 who obviously is way above me with his superior climb rate and a bomber spawn. And he could obviously just ignore me and fly away above me. There's nothing I could do to catch him, but no, he has other ideas in mind. He's going to use the cannon on his plane to good effect. In he comes for a boom and zoom. I'm just watching him, then I'm going to drop into a dive to gain speed myself. And yes, that's my Skype messages on the video, not your Skype if you have it. Switching to a different roll angle and then another roll angle again, because rolling at high speed is not something B782s can do. Then I'm switching back toward him, he zoom climbs and so do I. That was the advantage of my diving. I gain speed and I'll have just enough of it in this zoom climb to be able to pick him off with my very last bullets. He really wasn't taking his hits for a while there. He could easily have avoided that by going a bit evasive in his zoom climb. I would not have got guns on him, but he went nice and straight for me, which was very considerate. And of course, if you do have an altitude advantage, there will be people in high-powered planes who come looking for you. Like this Focke-Wulf 190 A4 storming up from spawn, looking to remove me from near their bomber spawn. Here he comes. He's got quite a bit of speed at the moment. So I'm just going to lift up in a very slight climb. Here we go. Just to keep away from his guns. He's spraying away. Let him stall. Okay, that's too steep. I might meet him head on, so I'll just flatten out for a bit. Rudder turn. Okay, now he's stalled. I need to strike now, except I have a friendly coming in. This is my kill, thank you very much. I'm not going to let you steal it. And this plane is extremely good at that kind of stall kill tactic. Not because it has great engine power, but because you can just rudder turn above people and sap their energy, just like you can in a 109. Now in this particular battle, I'm not at high altitude, I'm sort of mid to low altitude, but as you saw, there's a guy in this game, there he is just above my cockpit there, Boggs, who is an RB player who's railing on about how terrible arcade is. And as it happens, after he makes a failed boom and zoom attack on a zero down there, he decides to pick me out, and we're kind of isolated out here as well, so this is going to be a dogfight. So let's see how we go against an arcade-hating realistic battles player in a Spitfire VB Trop. Okay, firstly, he's turning underneath me. Of course, I am rudder turning with combat flaps. There we are, switched to the other way with a rudder turn. I'm not going to follow him with elevators at any stage if I can possibly help it. Okay, and he is simply elevator turning. And that's all he's doing. Flying in a circle, turning with his elevators, and I am out-turning him, as you can see. Such is the power of the rudder on the LaGG. I'm even gaining a bit of an altitude advantage. Now he starts to go vertical here. Obviously I cannot follow him too much in a vertical maneuver. I take my flaps, raise the flaps, hit WEP, and look at my speed. Just trying to keep up with him in that slight climb of his. I'm right down to 190 kilometers an hour. If he went into a climbing spiral, I would be done for. There's no way I could follow him, but he's not doing that. He is just turning horizontally, and now I'm about to get guns on target. Realizing that, he starts to turn away, but I do get some good hits, and then some more good hits as he runs, and then I'm out of ammo, and so hit detection saved his life there, and I let him go. But yes, Spitfire VB is outturned by LaGGs, he complains. I explained what I did, but he wasn't happy with that. Since when are elevators worse at turning than a rudder? Well, all you can do is try and show people. Anyway, so this is the last battle in which I tried to achieve my goal in this plane, of the 10 kills. I'd flown a lot of battles up to this point, and my average was around 3 to 4 kills per battle. And I was thinking I'd actually have to make a video just showing highlights, like the ones I've already shown you, rather than a full 10 kill battle. And there were several reasons for my failure to even get close to 10 kills. Firstly, so many of the battles only go for 7-8 minutes, if that. And in a LaGG-3 Uptiered, you're not going to get 10 kills in a short battle. And I simply could not get an air domination for the life of me. I haven't had one for a couple of weeks now. I don't know where they've gone. And other than that, obviously your teammates are much more effective at shooting down enemy planes than what a Tier 1 LaGG-3 is. And the problem isn't the armament. I mean, its 20mm cannon isn't bad, although there is only one of them. It's simply that your plane is slow. You need enemies to come to you. Look at all those guys down there at the ground level. I can't really boom and zoom them with any safety because I won't be able to get away once I get down there. And to have the kind of high speed that will give me any chance of escape, I would then start to lock up with its high speed handling. So what I really need is people climbing at me. And in this particular battle, everyone is low. Well, at least that's given me the first advantage. I don't have to spend half the battle combating a couple of ace enemy pilots up here for control of high altitude. I've just got to find a way of exploiting this advantage now that I have it. And it's one thing to say once you're at high altitude, well, you can just get the kills, but if there aren't bombers and there aren't climbers, and your plane is not really good at boom and zooming to low altitude, it does kind of restrict your options. In this case, this BTD decided he wanted to climb up after diving down to the deck after his initial unsuccessful head-on at me, and I think he'd forgotten that I was here. So this will be an easy first kill in this game. Down he goes. And that's the other thing I kind of need. I kind of need the enemy not to fly to their best, and obviously I need to be flying at my best. I need to make the most of absolutely every opportunity because I'm not going to get that many. Okay, there's a B-25 coming in, still checking what the enemies at ground level are doing, just in case someone sees me and decides to helicopter up. I don't want it to go unnoticed. Alright, and the guy I just shot down in the BTD is back in a P-51 and he is climbing. Within 2 kilometers of me, 1.6, 1.5, yes, he's coming straight for me, going for revenge. So this is going to be an easy stall kill. By the time he gets to me, he'll be very low on energy. I can just rudder turn straight over at him. He can no longer lift the nose to get his desired head on. And that's kill number 2. Thank you very much. Okay, now these B-25s, I want to get at least one of them if I can. I've got to wait because my guns are offline. That one's a bit far away, but this one is trying to climb above me by the looks of things. Still no climbers from below. Now my machine guns are online, but my cannon are not. If my cannon were, I would have attacked him right there. But by the time my cannons come back online, he's directly above me, and I can't perform that kind of direct vertical prop hang attack in this plane, not without a bit of speed under my belt, which I don't have. So I have to wait. And now he decides to dive down in front of my guns. I only get the briefest of sprays, and then I've got to get straight out of the way of his dorsal gunner before he makes a mess of me. Okay, now I'm set up for an attack from underneath, and he makes it a bit easier by diving directly in front of me. So that's 2 fires started on his plane, and that'll have to do. And my friend is coming back up in a P-47 this time. Looks like he's repeating exactly the same tactics he just tried in his P-51. Here he comes. Down goes the B-25 for kill number 3. Yep, exactly the same scenario played out for the 3rd time with this pilot. Hopefully he has learned from that. But that'll be the last I see of him in this battle. He decided he didn't want to play this game anymore for now. And a Yak-1B is also climbing up. So far I have not met any particularly higher tiered planes, but it's not so much that's enabled me to defeat them, it's that I have an altitude advantage and they're playing right into my hands at the moment. This guy too has allowed himself to be stalled out, side slipping nicely as I take off his wing. Okay, P-8 has joined in. I'm not particularly high, I'm only 3,500 metres, which is only 1,500 metres above their spawn height, but at the moment that's enough to be completely safe, simply because no one really is trying that hard to climb. Okay, I'm rudder turning. I would have been in a fairly good position to attack that P-8 if he hadn't dived, but someone else has finished him off. So now it's a matter of waiting for and hoping that someone else climbs. I'm trying to bait them up if I can. That's why I'm flying smoke, by the way. I want to be as visible as possible. I want people to think, here's an easy kill up there, let's go get it. But no one really has taken any notice, so I'm slowly lowering my altitude. There's a Yak-9 that's just beneath me, but he's only at spawn height. He is not climbing yet. No, still not climbing. The thing is, I don't. If I dive down there, I won't be able to get back up here again. So it's a bit of a quandary. I don't want the whole battle to go past while I fly circles up here and do nothing. But neither do I want to throw away this altitude advantage and then see a whole stack of enemy climbers go straight up. So it's a matter of judging how long to wait. Okay, I have a bomber spawned in, 2 bombers. If that B-25 follows the IL-4, I won't be able to attack the IL-4, but he's dived away, so the IL-4 is now open game, if the P-38 does not kill him, which he doesn't. So I'm just going to hit him with a very long stream of shells, and that should be enough to get the job done. Okay, I'm getting close to the point of the battle now where if there are no more climbers and no more bombers, I will have to start boom and zooming lower. Otherwise I'm not going to get my kill target in this game. So here we go. Firstly, I'm going to drop my altitude sharply down from 4,000 meters to 3,000, and then I'll pause. I don't want to get too fast, because if I dive all the way from 4,000 down there, by the time I get down there I'll be travelling at too high a speed to be able to do anything much. So firstly, this pause just lets me examine the situation, decide which targets to go for, and now I can dive, and by the time I'm down there I'll be at a good speed, but not going so fast that I won't be able to get guns on target. Okay, the P-51 Woodchuck is travelling slower than everyone else, for what reason I do not know, but that makes him a very easy target. Okay, he's down, carrying straight on, smoothly, as minimal movements as I can toward the P-38. Got to allow a fair bit of lead with Shevaks, I find, more so than many other cannon. See if I can get a shot at this Thunderbolt as he goes past. Not much of one. 34 cannon shells left, and there's a Yak-9 over here. In fact, it's a 9K. And I do not want to face a 9K head on. So snap roll out of the way, rudder turn straight back toward him. Then I should be able to drop down from above and pick him up quite quickly, except he dies in a head-on with a friendly LA-5. They take each other out. Okay, so I have to climb back to the battle, but unfortunately, a bit of a bad habit of mine, I have not reloaded my guns. I still have only 34 shells left in the cannon, and that's going to cost me a kill along with some bad aim here at this Yak-9. I thought it was coming for a head-on, wasted some bullets firing at him, and then missed, as he presented a very nice profile for me there. So now I only have machine guns for quite a while, and there's other friendlies in the area. So I'll take a bit of a ping at him with machine guns. Critical, it's the best I'll be able to do. Now I need to lift up and gain some altitude because there's a host of friendlies down there who are going to finish him off. Right, so now I'm approaching the enemy team, trying to climb. I'm still not up to spawn altitude. There's a bit of boom and zooming going on over there. If I'd stayed up higher, perhaps I could have joined in that, but that's not to be. Okay, and now a P-63 out to my right has picked me up. So it looks that way. Yes, definitely. In he comes. And I don't have a huge amount of speed, so I'm going to have to do a bit of hard turning here and wiggling around just to keep out of his gunfire. Okay. And it looks like, despite his climb, he's got quite a bit of energy under his belt. Certainly more than what I have. So, combat flaps, rudder turning, the usual. Don't quite get a shot at him there. But he's performing the normal looping dogfight that so many players do. But I can't follow him because there is a Corsair coming in, so I'm braking again with a rudder turn to throw his aim off. There he is. Scissoring straight back toward him, but I don't have the energy. Still keeping my turns as flat as I can, of course with rudder. Eventually I'd have a shot at him, but still I'm not alone. The P-63 is back. So 2 versus 1 at the moment with more enemies incoming. LA-5 on the way. A6M2 has joined in. But looks like I'm going to get a shot at the Corsair here as he extends away. But the hit detection gods are not with me at the moment, and I'm only landing a single hit. Then I can't stay in that shot for too long or I'll be picked off. Not sure where the P63's gone to at this stage. So that leaves an ACSM2 who's flying away from me, and an IL2 who's quite a bit lower, but I'm not going to dive on him just yet because I know there's other enemies around, including the LaGG-5. So it's just those two, I think, at the moment. LaGG-5 is the more dangerous of the two. The IL2 won't be able to lift up and get guns on me because, like me, he's in a poor climbing plane. So let's see if I can get a shot at the LaGG-5, just enough to set him alight, and then carry on toward the IL2. Off goes his wing. That's 9 kills. If the fire takes out the LaGG-5, that'll be 10. Just got to dodge that P51. A lot of evasive maneuvers here, and down he goes. 10 kills. I could not believe this at the time, and I was hyped and couldn't tell my friends enough about it, but I'm not out of the woods yet. I've got planes all over the back of me. A lot of snap rolling there. Zero throttle for a bit, and the engine seemed to take forever to come back in, so I could not follow that course there and exploit the overshoot, and I don't want to hang myself up as an easy target by trying. So diving to gain a bit of speed. P51's come back in. I've got to get underneath him if I can, also underneath the Corsair. The battle's winding down. There's so few tickets left, it could end at any moment. And there's also the chance I might even get a shot at someone here, though it's highly unlikely. These planes are travelling fast, and I'm pretty banged up with that right wing damage, and there goes the left wing, just over a second before the game ended. So the Goliath did kill my David, but it took quite a few of them to do so, and they had to fight for it. Anyway, what did I get out of this up-tiering exercise? Well, it really made me focus on my situational awareness, improve my defensive flying, and make sure that I grab opportunities by the throat, as I didn't get many of them. Up-tiering a plane is not for everyone, but it does develop your skills far more than flying an overpowered seal clubber. That's all for this video though. Normal service will resume in the next one as I take a look at the Yak-3 in arcade, so don't forget to subscribe. And as always, I look forward to your comments. Until my next video, this is Logshot signing off, and I will see you in the skies.